Hey miners, Mining King here. Today we're going to talk about my grow tent experience and maybe some lessons I've learned that you guys could also learn from. So let's get right into it. Recently I did take down my grow tent, and it was for a couple of reasons. But the main reason is because the grow tent isn't really set up for airflow like in a hot cold aisle section for GPUs. And I live in a state like Arizona, so it's very hot here, and I need to effectively move the air over my rigs. So I still have some open air rigs. I have been slowly converting over to octominers. I've been trying to acquire some, so I'm hoping to have my whole farm in octominers. Now the octominers for me is their power supply and some of their other features are great, but the main reason I get them is for their cooling purposes. But back onto the grow tent. So the main, when I first started my grow tent, I was thinking, hey, I'm going to hole saw these holes, for exhaust to go outside, which is, they're doing their job, and then I'm going to hole saw into my house. Well, the problem is I'm limited on how much air is going in. You don't want to have, it would be best to have like a pull, if you're like exhausting with fans, to have like a passive intake, not have both of them being forced. So that's my issue. I'm in an HOA, so I'm a little limited on, I'm not trying to drill a bunch of holes in like everything in my house, and I don't think the HOA is going to like it. So I'm a little limited in that regard. I did the best I could. So the grow tent, I don't think that it's set up, for optimum airflow. Now, I do think that some people could benefit from the grow tent, like maybe people in apartments, but I wouldn't get a full standing unit, because the problem is when you get to, the bigger unit, like I have, and or even the one that Chump has, the problem is when you get that much space, you have to move that much more air. So the small, you could have it like if you get one of those little 4-foot ones where you can maybe just squeeze in, 1 or 2 rigs. That would be perfect, because you can get the air in and get the air out, really effectively. You don't need to stand inside of it and work on your rigs. You could just open the door and just pull and grab it, reach in and pull your rig out, versus having a stand-in one. The problem with that is let's say you only have a couple of rigs, you have all this dead space that is going to be above your mining frames. That's just going to be kind of just hanging out there. The main thing is when for cooling GPUs, it's not about how cool the air is. So I made that mistake because I was trying to pull air from my house, right? So I was thinking, hey, I'm going to bring cooler air in from my air conditioned house, which is in turn making my air conditioner work a little bit harder. Not much, but it is noticeable. Not by a lot. But bringing in cooler air and then exhausting the hot air. The problem is GPUs, if you think about, like, let's say they're hanging around 50 Celsius, that's about 120 degrees. So you can effectively cool GPUs with 100-degree weather. The part that you have to get down, though, is going to be effectively moving the air across the GPUs, so that way so that the heatsink will efficiently work and you're removing the heat. So if you have a grow tent, and like I did, and you're not effectively moving the air through the rigs, you're not going to effectively cool the cards off. And even if you have temperatures in the 90s, you still may see that maybe some cards are getting too hot. The problem is not that you need to cool the air more, it's that you need to move the air more effectively through them. So with the grow tent, I find that that's really hard, unless because those ports that they have, already pre-made in there is not really ideal for GPU like server style cooling. It's made to be a grow tent, to grow things in. It's not made to, be mined in. Maybe somebody could make a mining tent. Maybe that's an idea where they could, actually create the airflow to be more efficient for like, like servers and stuff like that. So here's another con of a grow tent is that it is very hard to work in. Even the bigger one I had, it wasn't a lot of room for me to move in. I was able to stand in there and kind of move around a little bit. So it's still the con on a grow tent is you are going to limit yourself in your workspace. It's going to be tight. It's not going to be very fun to work in. Would I recommend a grow tent to people? I would say it would depend on the situation. Like I said, if you're in an apartment or, like a room by yourself and you're really limited, like how many rigs and power and heat you can have, then I would say the grow tent would be worth it, but not like at a full standing one. Like I said, maybe a short 4-foot one. In the end, was it worth, for how much money I spent on the grow tent? I'm going to say not. I spent roughly about $1,200 to $1,500. It's for the grow tent, the duct work, all the ducking, like everything. Probably $1,200-$1,500. Most of that though is those 4 big 8-inch AC Infinity inline duct fans I have. Those I am still using. They are serving their purpose. They're doing a pretty good job so far. I haven't decided on what I'm gonna do for my cooling, altogether. I'm looking at several other solutions. So I haven't made up my mind. It will also depend on how the summer really affects my cards. It's been about between 90 and 98 degrees here in Arizona lately, and we're gonna start getting into those 100-degree days, 110, 115. Where it doesn't drop below like 95 at night, 90, so I haven't had the high temperatures consistently all the time, so that will also play a factor in my deciding role where I have my farm. I'm also considering having my farm hosted. Was it a fun experiment to try out the grow tent? Yeah, I had fun, and it was a learning curve, and I learned a lot from it. I learned a lot about airflow and how to, and how you need to, direct the air. I'm hoping that some of the things that I tried that maybe, see what other people have tried. I've tried some of those things. So there's some things I tried that weren't on camera. There was a lot of trial and error with the tent, and to me, it ended up. The main reason I gave up on it is it just ended up being a headache. It ended up being a constant battle, and I need a solution that I don't need to worry about all the time, right? I need something it's just going to work, and I don't have to think about it. That's just me, and what I need, and everyone else's needs fine. If maybe someone likes to tinker all the time, and that's fine. I do eventually like to stop tinkering though, and I do like to have a finished product that's going to be successful. So for me, the grow tent wasn't successful, and I don't think it was very viable. So that's why I took it down. I don't think it really made sense to have everything in the tent, since I had the tent door open all the time, and so I just took everything out of it and took it all down. Let me know your guys' thought on the tent. Was there another avenue I could have tried? Could I have tried maybe a different way to direct the airflow? Are you guys using mining tents? What are you guys what are you guys using to cool your graphics cards? Are you guys just have them in your house and you guys are like DJ Mines, just sweating all the time, or are they out in the shed? Or what are you guys using to cool your graphics cards? I'm curious. Leave a comment down below. Let me know. I want to know what cooling solutions you guys are using. And just remember, guys, this is the Money King giving you the most hashes, and I'll see you next time.